Welcome back, everybody. Wanted to do a real quick video on the Raven Trekker 39. This is a newer offering from Raven Watches. This is the obviously the blue variant with the yellow seconds hand. There are several different variants of this particular watch. Some of them have the no date like this one. Some of them have black dial. I think there's a gray dial and a yellow dial. So a few different variants. I really liked this one because of the color combination. I thought that blue really popped, and in the sunlight I can tell you this blue is fantastic. This is called the Trekker 39 because the case is 39 millimeters wide. The last iteration of the Raven Trekker was 40 millimeters, I believe. But they were able to cut down some of the size, which I think makes this a lot more wearable and a lot more adaptable for a lot of wrists out there. This is a 316L stainless steel case, which is common from what you're going to see, especially in micro brands and a lot of the major manufacturers. You don't see a lot of cheaper metals out there or the more expensive stuff at this price range. We'll get into price in a little bit. This has the Miyota 905S, I believe, movement in there. I don't have my notes with me on that, but it is the no-date variant of the Miyota high beat movement. It gets about 40 hours power reserve. As you can see, it sweeps along pretty darn well there. This particular dial on this watch is a polished blue. So you're going to see it reflects light incredibly well. This looks great. And then you've got this polished ceramic bezel insert on here. Everything on here for the indices, the numerals, and the indices on the bezel are lumed with a really good, I think X1 lume, BGW9X1, I believe is what they used in here, and I'll do a lume shot later, but you're going to see it absolutely shines just beautifully. Moving on to the case, you're going to see a mixture of brushed and polished design. You got the really fine brushing here on the side. There we go. You can see that Raven engraving there on the crown. And then on the underside, you can see it's got this polished undercut. I'm going to put this on wrist, and you're going to see that helps this wear incredibly well. Prior iterations of this particular watch had more of a slab side, so this undercut in here is just fantastic. It wears incredibly well, and it's a really welcome addition. You can see it does have drilled lug holes, so switching out for a new strap or removing the bracelet is a breeze. I will tell you, this bracelet is fantastic, so you may not want to do that. Looking a little bit closer here, you can see we've got the Raven logo printed on the dial, as well as the numerals and the indices are also printed. They're not applied or anything like that, but I still think with the application of lume that they did is I think it's probably the optimal for this. You got Trekker there in yellow, which that was a nice little touch to go along with the seconds hand. This is a 300 meter dive watch, so a little more robust than a lot of what you're going to find out there, especially at this size. A lot of times when you see 300 meters or anything larger, it's or deeper than that, you're going to find it on a larger watch, which tends to be the trend, but not on this particular piece. You can see it does have a 180 click bezel, which is really firm. There's basically no back play on this. It's really well done and really firm. So you're going to know when you're ready to click it over there. Everything looks aligned just really well. Looking here at the case back, you're going to see nothing too crazy. It's you're going to see the engraving there, the Raven engraving, the year it was made. This is number 95 out of 100. They only made 100 of this particular color combination, 300 meters, and 316L stainless steel and sapphire crystal. It does have this nice domed sapphire crystal on there, which I think adds just a really cool level of distortion. I think it just looks really nice. It's more of a vintage look, from my understanding. I don't really look at a whole lot of vintage watches, but apparently that's how crystals used to be back in the day, I guess. But I think it's kind of cool. You can see it gives you a couple different viewing angles. It does have a nice application of AR coating on there, which still does reflect and everything, but all in all, still very legible with that AR coating in there. The bracelet itself is a nice, I believe this is considered a Jubilee bracelet, but it does articulate incredibly well. Look at that, which means it's going to drape on your wrists nicely, and isn't going to look too or feel too stiff on there. It is a fold over clasp with a little keeper, which is nice and secure. I don't really feel there's really no play or anything with that keeper. Sometimes on a watch, when you bend your wrist, keeper pops up a little bit. Really not so much on this. On the clasp itself, you can see you've got this nice engraving. This is engraved. It's not stamped or anything, so it does have a nice level of refinement there. The screws are, the links are done by screw-in, so not a pin and collar or anything pesky like that. So nice and easy to remove and add links if you need to on this. Now, when you pull out the crown on this particular movement, you're going to have a nice, smooth winding action. This particular piece, again, doesn't have the date, but it is using the appropriate movement, so you're not going to have a ghost position or anything. So all you have is the first position to wind it, and then you've got the second position, which allows you to change the time. As you can see, it does hack, so the second hand does stop, so you can set the accurate time, and it fires right up on here. There's really no binding or anything when you go to screw it in. I always just, out of habit, will unscrew a little bit further as I'm going to push it back in, but not really necessary here. Now, this crown does stick out a little bit far. However, the way this wears on wrists, you don't really have any negative effects of that. Or at least I didn't have any negative effects. It didn't seem to dig into to my wrist like it seemed like it might. But I'm going to put it on my wrist here in a second and kind of show you how this wears. So this is the box that it came with. Came with a couple of extra spots. I actually just sold this piece to kind of turn my collection a little bit. I'm really late on reviewing this one, but those are the extra links. But nice little package that it comes in. I've had a couple of Ravens, and I think they keep using the same packaging, which works, so no reason to switch it out. That's what I was wearing my SPB 117, which I'll end up doing a video on this one later. But let me go ahead and put this one on, and I'll show you what it looks like on my 6.5 inch wrist. There we are. Go ahead and zoom out a little bit there. All right. As you can see, it just catches that light beautifully. And let me turn that particular one off so you can see it without so much reflection. But God, look at that. It just looks great. Looks absolutely great. And you can see with those little undercuts there on the bottom of the case that it just rocks nicely on the wrist. Tend to wear my bracelets a little bit loose, but not too bad. And as you can see, that crown, it hits the back of my hand, but once I flex my hand just kind of pushes it back, so it fits on there just great. And again, this is a 39mm case. I believe it's 47.5 millimeters lug to lug. Let me go ahead and actually measure that here. It's kind of hard to do when you're doing it through your camera. So I'm getting 40, 8. So still a good size, even for small wrists. Again, I have a 6.5-inch wrist, so I think it's kind of the good spot there. I'm getting about 13, 14 millimeters thick with but the majority of that is, or a lot of that is that domed crystal, so don't be turned off by that if you think that's going to be too thick for you. But again, this is a great piece. What's great about it is the movement. The finishing on this is fantastic. I mean, there's really not much, a whole lot visually that I would change or even recommend changing. I was kind of find it a little bit silly when you've got a watch bracelet that comes up and it has these little faux links here at the solid end link. You can see what I'm talking about there. But I mean, a lot of companies do that, big companies, small companies. So, I can't really blame them for doing that as well. I just, I may not have gone that route if he had asked me, but, they don't ask me. So, that's, I go with it. One thing I do find kind of odd about the bracelet on this bracelet is incredibly comfortable, but it is still a little bit of a hair magnet. Now, I do have, some hairy arms, so, bracelets are rarely my friend in the long run, but this one did pull quite a few times when I wear it, and sometimes it will get me out of nowhere. One thing that was also a little bit odd is the case back itself has actually pulled a couple hairs off of my wrist, and I actually experienced that with another Raven that I had. Doesn't happen very often. It's only happened maybe once or twice with previous Raven I had, the Raven Defender that I had, and in this one has gotten me one time. So I don't think it's anything indicative. I may have just got it just right in that in one of the creases there, the case back, but just something to note. Let me go ahead and kill the lights so I can show you a lume shot. Well, as a matter of fact, there you go. I don't even have to turn off all the lights for you to see just how bright that is, but let me do it anyways. Oh yeah, look at that. That is just fantastic. Look how bright that is. That is just unbelievable lume. Now, I will say it does glow incredibly bright right off the bat, and it does last you through the night. However, the brightness does tend to go away pretty quickly. But again, it will last you throughout the entire evening. So, anyways, this was the Raven Tracker 39, the blue and the yellow variation. If you have any questions, let me know. Other than that, I hope you enjoy your evening, and I will talk to you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.